Good afternoon. Welcome back to another episode of Fearmeitsbre podcast and blog. So far nothing's happened with Trump that I've noticed. I've been watching it and they've delayed it again, I guess. So Desantis had some words about how he could be a better president than Trump or something. So I have an article that we're going to read about that and talk about. I have a Politico prediction of what would happen if Trump is arrested that I'm going to read and talk about. And Gwyneth Paltrow's trial is weirdly fascinating to me, so I'm also going to pull that up as well. So if you're interested, you can follow at fearmeitsbre on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. I don't really have anything else to say, intro-wise, so I guess we can get started. I guess except that I'm shocked I'm actually able to make a video 2 days in a row. That doesn't normally happen for me, so fantastic. Also, I think my lights are different. I don't know if I like this better or worse. I also messed with the camera lens, and I don't know if I like it better or worse either. So I guess I'll get started with Gwyneth Paltrow, because that's fun, right? So everyone's still oh no, Gwyneth and her terrible advice and starvation diet and all that crap. Meanwhile, I talked about it yesterday. She is in court right now for seriously injuring a man in a skiing accident. So this is an NPR article set, and it starts with Gwyneth Paltrow appears in Utah court for trial over a 2016 ski crash. Apparently her trial is being televised on YouTube, just like the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial was. I'm not I don't know. It's not something like Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. I was okay, I'll watch pieces of this. This is very interesting. Gwyneth, I'm I'm fine with just reading it. I don't think I need to watch it. So let's look at this and see what the author has to say. Actress Gwyneth Paltrow appeared in a Park City courtroom on Tuesday for the start of a trial over a 2016 ski crash in Utah. It's crazy how long it takes to actually get to this stuff. Paltrow is accused of crashing into Terry Sanderson, causing several serious injuries, and then abandoning him while they were both skiing on a beginner run at Deer Valley Resort 7 years ago. The trial is being live streamed on YouTube. Sanderson, a retired optometrist, filed the lawsuit in 2019, 3 years after the collision on the mountainside. So that's funny that he waited 3 years to actually file this if it was that important. Since then, he has alleged the accident left him with a brain injury, 4 broken ribs, and emotional damage. Sanderson also claimed Paltrow left the scene without giving him her name, contact information, or calling for help. Sorry, this cold is gone, but it's hung on so much in my throat and stuff. It's so annoying. That's interesting because I don't know if I ran into Gwyneth Paltrow on the ski slope, if I'd be oh my gosh, you're Gwyneth Paltrow. Or if I'd be sorry lady, my bad, So interesting, he supposedly didn't recognize her. Lawrence Bueller, Ferris, an attorney for Sanderson, began opening arguments stating distracted skiers cause crashes. Defendant Gwyneth Paltrow knew that looking up the mountain and to the side while skiing down the mountain was dangerous. Paltrow's attorney, Stephen Owens, told the jury that Sanderson's claims that the actress bolted from the mountain after ramming into him were totally fabricated. What the heck? I don't want to. I don't like you that much. We believe it to be utter BS, Owens said. He also told the jury that the burden of proof in the case rested on Sanderson's legal team and not the actress. You're going to feel sorrow for Sanderson, but that's not why you're here. You are here to figure out if someone negligently crashed into someone or if no one did, he noted. Skiing comes with inherent risks, he added. Yeah, that's true. So I don't know who here remembers, but Liam Neeson's wife, it was one of the Richardson women. It wasn't, let's see, there's Jolie Richardson and Natasha Richardson. Jolie Richardson, I think, is the one that's in The Patriot with Mel Gibson. So her sister, Natasha Richardson, who was married to, who did I say? Married to Liam Neeson, right? She was in a skiing accident herself years ago where she was just going down the mountain, I guess, and she hit a tree and she got up and walked away and was I'm fine. And then she ended up dying of internal brain bleeding and damage. I don't know if it was within a few hours or within a few days or what it was, but that's what they determined that the cause was. So, and then there was that actor that was in Moon Knight who went skiing for it was his son's 5th birthday or something this past year or last year. And he ended up crashing and getting killed as well. So skiing is definitely dangerous. I've never attempted it. I attempted water skiing one time, but I didn't have the upper arm strength to like hang on to the like thingamajigger while I'm like being lifted out of the water. I do this every time. So I've never done anything like that, skiing or water skiing. So it's definitely a dangerous sport, and that's one of the reasons that I haven't really been tempted to try it. An initial version of the suit, Sanderson sought $3.1 million in damages, KSL.com reported, but in May 2022, 3rd District Judge Kent Holmberg dismissed some of Sanderson's claims against Paltrow, ruling that it was not a hit-and-run ski crash, according to the news outlet. The 76-year-old, is now seeking $300,000 in damages. I didn't realize he was that old. At the time, he would have been like late 60s, but still. Gwyneth would have been a lot younger than him, so she probably could have walked away from that way more unscathed than him. Meantime, the Oscar-winning actress and entrepreneur filed her own countersuit about a month after Sanderson in 2019. In it, she recounted the events of the day, blaming him for the crash. She described him being uphill from her and her family when suddenly he plowed into her back, delivering a full-body blow. According to Paltrow, she was angry with Sanderson, but he apologized. Each party wants the other to cover their legal costs. Paltrow is seeking $1 in damages. Okay, what? It is unclear if Paltrow will take the stand, but her attorney told the jury some family members who were skiing with her at the time of the incident will testify. And that's the end of that article. So what do you think? Do you guys think that did Gwyneth Paltrow ram into this guy and cause brain damage and all kinds of crazy things? Or did this guy ram into Gwyneth Paltrow? And if this is Gwyneth's fault, how much do you think she's paying people to take the stand and be like, what? No, Gwyneth didn't do any of that. Because that's really funny. If there were witnesses around, if all the witnesses are like, no, it was him, it wasn't Gwyneth. But if all those witnesses were there with Gwyneth Paltrow, I could see them being like, you know, on her side, even if she was in the wrong, especially if maybe she was like, hey, I'll give you $100, probably more than that. I mean, she owns that stupid like boutique or whatever, where I'm not kidding, that stupid Goop boutique. I saw pajamas at like TJ Maxx or Marshall's or like one of those stores for $20. They were like a silk pajama set. It was exactly the same as one that I saw on Gwyneth Paltrow's website one time when I was just looking for fun, that she was selling for like $200. So maybe her quality is great. Maybe it's just crap that you could find at TJ Maxx. I don't know. I have not and will never buy anything from her. Yeah. Honestly, people say that she's not looking that great and she's looking sallow due to her diet she's on. But really, I think it's just because the woman doesn't do... I wonder if that doesn't zoom in. Nope. I don't want to visual search Gwyneth Paltrow. That's weird. But, I mean, she doesn't do a lot of, like... I don't think she does, like, plastic surgery and stuff. For what it is, I think she looks good. She just doesn't look as fake as, like, most of the women that you see. Because you've got, like, Madonna, who looks terrible from all of her plastic surgery. And then you've got Gwyneth, who is, I mean, she's showing signs of aging. But I think she's still absolutely beautiful. Like, I don't really see a picture here. Maybe there's some bad angles. But I don't really see a picture here where I'd be like, ooh, Gwyneth, you're not looking good. I think she looks great in all of them. Definitely signs of age, but what's wrong with that, right? So yeah, that was interesting about Gwyneth Paltrow. Everyone's so hyper-focused on her stupid, I only eat soup and some veggies, and sometimes I do fart therapy video, that everyone's kind of just like forgetting, like, oh hey, she's actually on trial for something. It's actually worse than just her like not eating a healthy diet. So that's Gwyneth Paltrow for you. I found it interesting. I don't know if anyone else does. Yeah, it looks like I was saying earlier with the Trump stuff, it's not like nothing's happening. They keep, I got distracted. I'm sorry. Scrolling Twitter is like pull. As I'm recording this, nothing's happened. It just looks very oh, they're delaying it again. Oh, we can expect something by next week. So far, it's kind of boring. I thought I don't know, maybe they won't arrest him, but I thought maybe something would actually have gone down by now. So I think the next thing I'm gonna flip over to is gonna be, which one do I want to do? I already did Gwyneth. Jeez. Sorry. The next thing that I'm gonna hop over to is, I think I'm gonna go to the Desantis one. Let's see what Ron DeSantis had to say about Trump today, or yesterday. This article came out yesterday, and it is from the Daily Caller. Okay, let's see. See if this is a good... Can I, Cool. And I'm going to get rid of that, too. All right. No daily drama. DeSantis slams Trump over leadership and COVID. Interesting. Republican Florida Governor Ron DeSantis targeted former President Donald Trump's character for not firing the White House senior medical advisor Dr. Anthony Fauci, which a lot of us have. Can't blame him there. DeSantis criticized his potential biggest rival's alleged chaotic leadership style during an exclusive interview with Piers Morgan set to be released Thursday on Fox Nation, the New York Post reported. The governor reportedly said the former president should have fired Fauci, who served on the Trump administration's White House coronavirus task force. Morgan said he asked DeSantis to cite specific differences between himself and the former president, to which the governor immediately pointed to Trump's COVID-19 response. I might play the video, but I'm going to read the article first. While I think there's a few things, their approach to COVID was different. I would have fired somebody like Fauci. I think he got way too big for his britches, and I think he did a lot of damage, DeSantis reportedly said, according to Morgan. The governor also reportedly criticized Trump's style of leadership with accusations that he brought in daily drama and his own agenda, according to Morgan, the outlet reported. I also think, just in terms of my approach to leadership, I get personal in the government, who have the agenda of the people and share our agenda, the governor reportedly continued. Where you bring your own agenda in, you're gone. We're just not going to have that. So the way that we run the government, I think, is no daily drama, focus on the big picture, and put points on the board, and I think that's something that's very important. Trump has nicknamed the governor Ron DeSanctimonious ever since polling showed the two leaders neck and neck as top contenders for the 2024 presidential nomination. Morgan said the governor brushed off the nickname in the soon-to-be-released interview. I don't know how to spell the sanctimonious one, DeSantis reportedly added, according to Morgan. I don't really know what it means, but I kind of like it. It's long, it's got a lot of vowels. We'll go with that, that's fine. I mean, you can call me whatever you want, just as long as you also call me a winner, because that's what we've been able to do in Florida, is put a lot of points on the board and really take the state to the next level. To me, it's just background noise, he reportedly continued. It's not important for me to be fighting with people on social media. It's not accomplishing anything for the people I represent. So we really just focus on knocking out victories day after day, and if I got involved in all the undertow, I would not be able to be an effective governor. So I don't think it's something that makes sense for me. Morgan reportedly reminded DeSantis of Trump's previous praise of him before the 2018 Florida gubernatorial election, where the governor ran against Democrat Andrew Gillum. Trump previously endorsed DeSantis and said Ron DeSantis is a brilliant young leader, Yale and then Harvard, who would make a great governor of Florida. He loves our country. He's a true fighter. Things have changed a little bit, I guess, DeSantis reportedly replied. The New York Post reported, it is what it is. The governor reportedly suggested that real-life turmoil in their relationship began when DeSantis won his gubernatorial re-election bid by a landslide victory. Many of Trump's endorsements, such as former Pennsylvania Senate candidate Dr. Oz and Georgia Senate candidate Herschel Walker, lost in the midterm elections. If you're Trump, desperately trying to get back into the White House, this was a nightmare, Morgan said regarding the midterms. My view, though, is we should want the country to do well, DeSantis reportedly replied. I want other Republicans to do well. I want them to eclipse me. We're setting a great standard in Florida. I have everyone up their game. Trump previously slammed DeSantis for shutting down Florida beaches and nightclubs at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, though DeSantis' early reopening of his state proved popular among most conservatives. The governor responded to the attacks by touting the major election victory during a January 31st press conference. I roll out of bed. I have people attacking me from all angles, DeSantis said. It's been happening to me for many, many years. And if you look at the good thing about it, though, is like if you take a crisis situation like COVID, you know, the good thing about it is when you're an elected executive, you got to make all kinds of decisions. You got to steer that ship And the good thing is that people are able to render a judgment on whether they re-elect you or not. I'm happy to say, in my case, not only did we win re-election, we won with the highest percentage of the vote that any Republican candidate has had in the history of the state of Florida, Desantis added. The verdict has been rendered by the people of the state of Florida, he continued. He also criticized Trump for smearing other Republicans in a February 8th statement, saying, I spent my time delivering results for the people of Florida and fighting against Joe Biden. That's how I spend my time. I don't spend my time trying to smear other Republicans, he added. So that's interesting. Was there a video? I don't know that there was a video. No, it's just an image, I guess, of the interview. Interesting. So, on that note, I don't know that I necessarily would judge DeSantis too heavily for doing lockdowns and shutting stuff down in the beginning, just because while we know now that, it was all bullcrap, admittedly, I was one of the weirdos who was like, should I wear a mask? And like, this was March 2020. So like, this was when things first went bad and none of us actually knew what was going on. I was one of the, do I wear a mask to the store? Do I not wear a mask to the store? Do I listen to the CDC? Do I not listen to the CDC? I'll take an extra 20 minutes after purchasing my groceries to stand outside and wipe them down. We even had friends who didn't think like, oh, that's not going to become anything. That's over in China. It's fine. Don't worry about it. And then, now people are like, oh my gosh, COVID-19 happened. That was the scariest thing on earth. And it's like, no, it really wasn't. But we didn't know in the beginning what it was going to do and what it was going to become. So there was a small period of time where maybe if I'd paid more attention back then, I would have been like, oh, yeah, this is off. This is definitely off right from the start. But I wasn't. I think like a lot of people, I mean, I've always been openly conservative, but like a lot of people, I think 2020 was more of a, oh, things really are bad, aren't they, for me? So, so I think with Ron DeSantis, in the beginning, he was doing what he thought was best. He was running with the science he was given, and I think eventually in his mind it clicked that this isn't adding up and this isn't making sense. I'm not going to follow this anymore. So I wouldn't necessarily like judge him as harshly as Trump did for his state's lockdowns and things. He was one of the first people to lift them when he realized they were bogus. And he really did fight for Florida, and that's fantastic. So I would say stop blaming him for stuff. And it's annoying that Trump is trying to tear him down so hard, because I think at this point, if the Republican Party is not going to unite behind someone, they're going to fall and Democrats are going to win again. That's just what's going to happen. I know a lot of people were like, woo, red wave 2022. And I was like, no, that's not going to happen. And it didn't happen. And now people are like, well, Trump is definitely going to get elected in 2024. That's definitely going to save us. And I'm like, not at this rate. If things keep going the way that they're going, not to be a naysayer black pill, but I don't think 2024 is going to be a red wave either, as if things keep going the way that they're going. Maybe Trump will run. I mean, he's running, but maybe like he'll win the primary and he'll be the Republican candidate. Maybe DeSantis will. We just don't know. And I think that the voter base is divided enough because of these two squabble that the people who like Trump aren't going to vote for DeSantis necessarily because Trump's making fun of him, so are they. And then the people who want DeSantis don't respect Trump because they're kind of tired of the bully approach, and I think they kind of want the guy that's got less crap on him, which makes sense. But anyway, I don't know. Is DeSantis running? Is he not running? Isn't it kind of like unofficially like official but unofficial? I have no clue. I guess we'll find out eventually. So that was the second thing I wanted to talk about. Let's see if there's any updates. There are no updates on Trump so far that I can find. Yeah. Nothing. Oh well, it's fine. I'm sure something will happen. Something interesting will happen on a day where I can't record. Today I kind of just like figured I would try and record at some point, and then if anything cool, you know what I mean? If anything big happened, I could talk about it, and I've waited long enough through the day, and I can't wait any longer because of my scheduling. So I figured I'd just run with what I have, and if anything happened while I was recording, we could look at it, but nothing's happening. So like I said, it's going to happen on a day where I'm not able to do this at all. That's just how it goes. So we looked at Gwyneth Paltrow's trial. We looked at No Daily Drama from Ron DeSantis. And now we're going to look at Politico's prediction of what will happen if Trump gets arrested. They published this yesterday around 4 p.m.-ish. So I'm going to, there we are, bring the screen over, and then we're going to read that, because I'm kind of curious to see what, Politico has to say about it, while I also mess with this, I think. Yeah, it's probably not bad. I'm still figuring out how I want this to look when I do this. Maybe zoom in the camera. I don't know. The last time I did this with the camera zoomed in, though, I was like, whoa, because when I'd go back to the screen of just me, it was way too much. Like, I didn't like having my face fill the screen that much. I like the little bit wider angle better. It makes me feel less like, So anyway, moving on. Everything you should know about the potential Trump indictment. Is Trump definitely going to be indicted? What does the grand jury vote entail? Will his mugshot be taken? With Donald Trump expected to be indicted in the coming days, his supporters, critics, New York law enforcement officials, and a variety of other constituencies await the history-making spectacle of seeing criminal charges brought against a former president for the first time. In many ways, the mechanics of indicting Trump are likely to be the same as they would for any other defendant charged by Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg. In other ways, they may be quite different, largely due to the fact that Trump enjoys the protection of U.S. Secret Service and draws supporters who've resorted to violence in the past. Probably referring to January 6th, because what else do they refer to when they bring that up? Here's how the indictment of Trump is likely to unfold. Although, as with most things related to the former president, expect the unexpected. That is true. Trump is kind of a wild card, isn't he? Is Trump definitely going to be indicted? No, but it appears very likely. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office has brought numerous witnesses before the grand jury and offered Trump a chance to go before the grand jury, an indication that the office will seek to indict him. Though it is possible for the grand jury to vote against charging him, grand jurors rarely decline to indict. And if the district attorney's office thought they were in danger of the grand jury just voting no, prosecutors likely would have paused the proceedings. Interesting. What does the grand jury vote entail? After prosecutors finish presenting witnesses, an assistant district attorney will tell the 23-person grand jury which charges they will be considering and will read them the text of the law. The grand jury will then leave to discuss the case and vote on it. An indictment requires 12 or more jurors to vote yes. If that happens, the vote will be recorded on a form and signed, then taken by someone from the district attorney's office to either the clerk office or to the office of the judge who is overseeing the grand jury. It will be placed into an envelope, sealed, and stamped by the clerk. How will we know if and when Trump is indicted? Once the indictment is stamped, the district attorney's office will notify an attorney for Trump that he has been indicted. At this point, Trump is free to make this information public. Will he be arrested? Will his mugshot be taken? When will he appear in court? Because the case is white-collar, the district attorney's office will ask Trump's attorney when he plans to come to New York to be arranged, I guess. The law doesn't require a defendant to turn himself in within a specific time frame, so the timing here is flexible. So does that mean Trump could, for the next 10 years be like, I'll be in New York at some point, I promise I'm coming? Or, is it like, no, dude, there is a limit, we just unofficially have a limit, because that's kind of weird. Whenever he comes to New York, he and his attorney will report to the district attorney's office where Trump will be arrested and booked, which means he'd be fingerprinted and have his mugshot taken. He may also get a DNA swab, but it is unclear how the Secret Service protection may affect this process. He'll then be taken to a judge, where the district attorney's office will ask for the indictment to be unsealed. It is possible he'll be handcuffed when he is transported from the district attorney's office to court, a short walk away with the same building. At this point, he'll be arraigned, which means he'll have to enter a plea of guilty or not guilty. And then he'll be released because the charges he is likely to face are non-bailable. What happens next? The judge will set a date for his next courtroom appearance, usually for the defense and prosecution to discuss additional steps, as well as potential discussion about discovery process. After his initial court appearance, Trump will most likely be able to return to his Florida home or wherever he chooses. And how far will House Republicans take their Bragg investigation? House Republicans followed through with the pledge to investigate Bragg over claims of politicized judicial process, but the probe is still in infancy. Representatives Jim Jordan, James Coroner, and Brian Steele, the chairs of the Judiciary Oversight Administration Committees, fired off a letter to Bragg accusing him of actions that will erode the confidence in the even-handed application of justice and unalterably interfere in the course of the 2024 presidential election if Trump is indicted. We read that letter yesterday in the episode I did yesterday. A DA spokesperson responded saying they wouldn't be intimidated by attempts to undermine the justice process. Republicans are giving Bragg until 10 a.m. Thursday, so that's tomorrow, to set up an interview with committee staff. They also want a tranche of documents and records, including any related to federal funding or communications within the Justice Department and other federal law enforcement agencies. Those requests are, for now, voluntary, and the letter doesn't include a mention of a compulsory process if Bragg doesn't comply. In other words, there'd be no subpoenas. So, yep. Interesting. Giant picture of Trump and Melania. That's like really, really random. Okay. But anyway, that's how Politico foresees it going if everything comes to fruition. I can't pronounce words today. I used to pronounce pronunciation as pronunciation, so that should tell you everything right there. But, yep. So, will it go that way? Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Maybe Trump won't be indicted or arrested at all. Maybe it's just a big facade. But we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening here. Still nothing. The grand jury was canceled, it looks like. MSNBC tweeted, the grand jury in New York is weighing whether to indict Donald Trump, will not meet today, and has been told to be on standby tomorrow, two sources tell NBC News, whichever. This isn't, that's confusing. All right, so I'm going to play it, I guess, so that we can hear it, because I'm actually kind of curious to hear that, since it's a little bit of an update here as to things that are going on. See if we get sound.
Yeah, Andrea, just as we come on the air, our colleague Jonathan Dietz reporting that the grand jury won't meet today. It's worth reminding folks that all these grand jury proceedings are conducted in secret. That includes the schedule. You know, we know from past patterns that this grand jury typically meets on Monday afternoons and on Wednesday afternoons. But as is usually the case, you know, most of the time we don't know for sure when they meet until afterwards. Some of this can be based on witness availability. Some of it can be based on the availability of prosecutors or the folks who need to be in the room. Some of it can be making sure they have a quorum of grand jurors present to hear the necessary evidence. So we're working to find out more about the delay today and why the grand jury is not meeting today after they had a busy day Monday, suggesting that perhaps they were closer to the end of this probe than they were to the beginning. Now, as for the reaction in Mar-a-Lago, I've not seen any to this decision not to have the grand jury meet today, but I suspect, based on my other reporting, it will be welcomed by the former president down in South Florida. The reporting from the New York Times that you mentioned, also reporting that I and my other colleagues have been able to do, is that the former president's somewhat conflicted about all this. So he may be personally uncomfortable with the idea of being indicted. Nobody particularly wants to, be fingerprinted or have to go through the criminal justice system, but that he also recognizes the political opportunity it presents to rally his base to him, to be part of a spectacle, to be part of the biggest story on the planet, which the first ever indictment and arrest of a former president would probably qualify as if and when we get to that moment. But Andrea, it appears we're at least another day off from that possibility. And I can tell you today, after what was a lot of buildup and a lot of
So, yeah, I'm going to turn this up a little bit more since I messed with it. Hopefully it's not freaking out on me, but hopefully that sound came through. I tried turning this mic down to see if that would help with the sound there. Just in case that was just dead silence, though, the grand jury met Monday and they decided not to meet today. So that's kind of in question right now. People are wondering why that is. Interesting, though, because Trump was saying, oh, it's probably not going to be Tuesday after all. They're probably coming for me tomorrow. And so far, nothing has happened that I've been able to find. So other than that breaking news update that, oh, by the way, grand jury decided not to meet today. So never mind, guys. So that's interesting, I guess. Let's see. Is there anything else? It's kind of interesting to see what's trending on Twitter. Velma's trending. Terrible, terrible show. I watched the first 3 episodes, and I don't think I'm going to watch any more. Mindy Kaling really, she did bad. She did so awful with that. White House honors star and executive producer of controversial Scooby-Doo spinoff Velma. Of course they do. Of course they do. The heck? That's absolutely ridiculous. I'm actually going to click on that. It's a Fox News article. And I'm going to click on it because that's interesting to me, I guess. Let's see what they have to say about that. It's kind of funny. Actress Mindy Kaling was awarded the National Medal of Arts by President Biden on Tuesday. President Joe Biden honored some of America's biggest celebrities with the National Medal of Arts in the East Room of the White House Thursday, including the executive producer of the controversial show Velma. By the way, I'm sure everyone knows this, but do not let your kids watch Velma. Okay? All right. Actress Mindy Kaling plays Velma, the lead character in the controversial Scooby-Doo spin-off series. She also executive produces. The show has been... I'm actually gonna do that because the ads are annoying. All right. The show has been criticized by many for featuring excessive nudity, gore, and violence, as well as woke themes and the sexualization of minors. Velma herself is a lesbian. Since its release, the HBO Max show has been panned by audiences and claims the title of one of the worst TV ratings in IMDb history, as well as the worst animated show rating ever. Yeah, I tried watching it because I was curious, and it's probably one of the worst cartoons I have ever watched. Reviews have been so bad that some have wondered whether the show is a conspiracy to annoy right-wingers. Forbes contributor Paul Tassi mentioned in this notion, writing, Velma is so bad, in fact, that it's spawning conspiracy theories that creator Mindy Kaling made what is essentially a parody of what the right wing thinks the left wing comedy is like. Yeah, Mindy got accused of being like a secret conservative or something, which she's definitely not, so that was pretty funny. Others honored at the White House event include Vera Wang, Veep actress Julia Louis-Dreyfus, I don't know, and legendary musician Bruce Springsteen. Bruce, some people are just born to run, man, Biden told the music legend. Biden noted Springsteen is approaching 3,000 concerts around the world. That's impressive. Tuesday marked the first time Biden hosted a full National Medal of Arts ceremony. The Biden administration has long enlisted celebrities to help advance its agenda. In 2021, they asked 18-year-old singer Olivia Rodrigo to help promote the COVID-19 vaccines. I don't like Olivia Rodrigo, and it might just be because I have a bias against her because she was a TikTok star, and I hate TikTok, and I think that everybody should delete it and everybody should keep their kids away from it. That's my TikTok rant, though. I will end it there. Last year, they interviewed actor Matthew McConaughey to talk about gun control, which also was an absolute emotion-baiting basket case response. And it was kind of ridiculous, and he really was not well informed. Monday, they had actors on from Ted Lasso to speak about mental health during the White House press briefing. That's the last thing I want, I think, is an actor to talk about mental health because they're an actor. I don't know that they really care. They're being paid to stand up there and act like they care. It's in their name. Actor. Anyway. Biden is far from the first president to host celebrities at the White House. Trump invited Kanye West, who wore a Make America Great Again hat, and his then-wife, Kim Kardashian, to discuss prison reform. Interestingly enough, Kim actually got Trump to pardon a bunch of, I think it was like this woman and some other people. Specifically, this one woman who did bookkeeping for people who were doing drug deals or something. Her crime was extremely minor and petty compared to the other people who got booked, I guess, but she was like given a life sentence or something. And Kim talked to Trump and was like, hey, I think this is wrong. And Trump was like, you're right, it is wrong. Let's pardon her. And then the left was like, Kim Kardashian likes Trump. Because Kim was like, oh, he's actually not that bad. He helped me out here. As weird as Kim is, like, that was cool of her to do, I guess. And then former President Obama hosted Leonardo DiCaprio, Kendrick Lamar, Prince, and Stevie Wonder, among many others. Anyway, interesting little tidbit, I guess, to add. Yeah. Oh, that video of the reporter and stuff getting mad at Jean-Pierre, I guess. That was the cast of Ted Lasso that were behind her, that she was like, oh, welcome to the White House. When she was kind of being a witch about, just being very rude and uncouth and unprofessional, as she usually is. Honestly, Jen Psaki looks a lot better. I still don't like her, but I would say she looks a lot better and a lot healthier and just less sallow and angry and depressed now that she's with, what is it, MSNBC? Let's look her up real quick. Jen Psaki, MSNBC. There was a specific picture where, like, where is it? Here? Oh, that's too tiny and grainy. I'll pull it up once I can get, like, a good image of her. She just did not look good. That's not really a great image. I don't know. Let's just look at, I'll just throw it over. So, something about her, like, when she was in the White House, she didn't wear much makeup. She just looked very tired and haggard, and nothing ever really flattered her. Like, look, her hair's curled. She looks nice. Something about her there looks, it's tiny again. But something about Jen Psaki on MSNBC looks a lot better than that. Like, what is that? Granted, like, I'm not saying, like, a woman needs to wear a butt ton of makeup to be beautiful. All I'm wearing right now is mascara. Like, I didn't really put much effort in today. But just, she always looked sad. She always looked tired. Can you blame her? She was the press secretary for President Biden. But something about her new show, she just looks so much more, I don't know, personable? See, can't pronounce things today. But anyway, that's like another random little thing that I wanted to throw out there. Jen Psaki actually doesn't look half bad for some reason. People used to make comparisons to her and Kaylee McKinney, however you say her name, because, I mean, she was a smoke show, and then you had Jen Psaki. But I'd say Jen's looking pretty good. I don't know if there's anything else, really. There's no Trump indictment. There's no court in session, except for Gwyneth Paltrow's court. Oh my. Maren Morris tells... Sorry. Country star Maren Morris tells Tennessee to effing arrest her after introducing her toddler to drag queens. That's terrible. Could look at that, I guess. I think she was the one that was feuding with gosh, what's her name? Her husband is, like, super conservative. So she Brittany Aldean. Yeah, Maren Morris was, like, feuding with Brittany Aldean. I don't know that I will, like, read the whole article. I brought my son here earlier today for sound check. He's turning 3 this week, and we go in the room where all the queens were getting ready doing their makeup. He freaked out when he went in there because it's just magic what drag queens do, Morris explained, according to Variety. Maybe he was, like, freaked out. Maybe he thought it was weird. There's wigs everywhere and the smell of hairspray and wig glue. There's glitter. Everyone's in a good mood, Morris added. It's like a room full of love. And then we went back to my dressing room, and my son is like, I need the queens. I'm like, you're looking at her? The singer said. Morris' speech comes just weeks after Tennessee became the first state to pass legislation banning drag shows and public property in your schools. The state previously had restrictions in place against adult-oriented businesses, which is good because children don't need to be a part of this or see this. I have a whole thing I wrote about it on my Substack called To Protect the Children, if you want to read it. Yeah, I don't really care about her, so I'm not going to read any more of that, but that's just, like, that's sad that she's like that. today's kind of a short one, I guess. I'm going to end it here. I don't know that there's really that much else I can talk about without just rambling at this point. Yeah. So far, there's nothing on Trump. It's just kind of quiet. Everyone's just kind of waiting with bated breath to see what happens. So I suppose I will shut this down, and hopefully everybody has a great rest of their day, and maybe something will happen. Maybe it won't. Maybe I'll come back tomorrow and record another one if anything happens, or if I find more interesting stories to talk about. So again, I would love it if you would find me on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, fearmeitsbre. You could look at my Substack if you want to read my written work. I have a link to that, I believe, in my Instagram and my Twitter, just because it's kind of funky finding it. I've had people say they had a hard time with it. So if anyone's interested, just go to those places. I think there's even a link on YouTube, like in the about or description or something. And I can also link it in the description to this video, I suppose. So hope everyone has a great afternoon, and I will probably be back tomorrow. And if not, I will definitely try and be back Monday or Tuesday.